Yesterday, I told you about this guy, David Cochrane. He's a government journalist working at Trudeau's CBC state broadcaster. You know the type. Like Rosemary Barton, just not even pretending to be a real reporter, a government reporter. Cochrane had spent days on the Liberal campaign bus, but not asking any questions. I mean, that's liable to get a CBC journalist in trouble. He literally asked no questions at all for 2 days. Because no reporters on the Liberal campaign bus were allowed to ask questions for 2 days. What's the point of being on a Liberal campaign bus if you're not allowed to ask questions? Well, Cochrane humiliated himself by defending Trudeau's silence. He said it was fine. He said Trudeau was really busy. I mean, they were moving really fast, so that explained it. He was so mocked for that comment that he actually deleted that tweet. I'm sorry I didn't manage to take a screenshot of that one first, but you can see a trace of it in the reply to him by Norman Spector, who repeated the phrase, "They are focusing on rapid movement through ridings on Saturday and Sunday." That was Cochrane's explanation. So to recap, you've got this utterly submissive Liberal government journalist at Trudeau's CBC state broadcaster. He's not just passively doing pro-Trudeau stories. He's actually defending Trudeau's media conduct, as in Trudeau not taking questions for days. He's defending that to other journalists. So he's actually indistinguishable from the Liberal press secretaries. He's making excuses for Trudeau. He's being passive-aggressive to anyone who is appalled by his submissiveness. It's really bad. And then this video clip surfaces of him just utterly allowing himself to be treated like a good little puppy, a good boy, being rewarded by his master. Take a look at this clip. This was on Twitter yesterday. David Cochrane is the bald fellow being a good boy. Trudeau is the guy giving him free food and a pat on the head and saying, Liberals always take care of the CBC good boys.
For you, David. This is for you. No. For me? Hey, Liberal Party always supports the CBC.
Now that video went viral on Twitter. It was so incredible, and then, poof, it just disappeared. Just like that Cochrane tweet that had said, hey, you guys, stop being mean to Trudeau. He's been rushing around, so he literally hasn't had time to answer a single question. You guys stop being mean to Justin. That tweet just disappeared, and so did the Twitter video I just showed you. Just deleted from Twitter. What happened? Well, in this case, it wasn't the CBC that nuked it, that we know of. Global News apparently did. They're the ones who recorded it. You could see the little logo on the bottom. Now, why would they delete that from Twitter? Don't they like their work going viral? It had their logo on it. Isn't that great for them? I mean, they weren't making any money off it, of course, but you don't tend to on Twitter. Everybody uploads content and shares it for free. Why would Global take that down? Gee whiz, why would Global take down their video that embarrassed Trudeau and the CBC, that showed the cozy relationship between the Liberals and the media? Why would Global take that down? I wonder why. Of course, Global happens to be the same hard-hitting investigative team that asked Trudeau the shampoo question.
The one that the entire country wants to know. What shampoo do you use?
What a disappointing answer this is going to be. Whatever happens to be hanging around at the time.
Tom Clark's another good boy. Now, eventually, Global did upload a version of the clip again, but it's strange. They uploaded one from a different angle, one that obscures the interaction a bit, made it a little bit less obsequious, hid David Cochrane a little bit, and of course, the thousands of people who had retweeted the earlier video, that was all nullified. You go to any of those retweets, it's just blank. So just a handful of people even saw the new version, this one.
For you, David. This is for you. No. Me? Hey, Liberal Party always supports the CBC.
Now, it was still an excruciating interaction, but Why did Global delete their first one? Why would they do that? Why were they embarrassed by it? They published it. Well, let's play a longer clip from Global of the interaction. I think this is the worst one of all.
Merci la gang. Merci la gang. Merci à vous. This is for you, David. This is for you. No. For me? Hey, Liberal Party always supports the CBC.
Oh, who's got a taste it?
Who's that? We want to slow him down. He's just
Look at that, eh? The pure joy on the face of David Cochrane, the good boy. Good boy. He felt loved like any good boy would feel loved because the sun prince was shining down upon him that day. He was loved by his master, Justin Trudeau, not just with a smile and a compliment, but Trudeau gave him something. It was a small token, but even the smallest token from a royal prince must be cherished forever. Do you doubt that this little trinket is tucked away in Rosemary Barton's hope chest hidden under her bed? You doubt that Paul Wells and Althea Raj take this picture of them, take it out from time to time and look at it and smile to themselves when they're feeling down, maybe run a bubble bath for themselves, a glass of wine, get in there and just look at this picture a little bit, relax, put on some music. For a moment there, they were with the cool kid. They were loved by royalty, just for a moment. I think David Cochrane had the best day of his life yesterday. And he didn't even realize he was being manipulated, laughed at, mocked by Trudeau. It's that pickup artist move he has. Trudeau close hugs, touches, mauls, pats, gropes any woman he wants to psychologically dominate. He'll even put his hand on the bum of the Governor General. What? Because she didn't know which way to walk without it. She needed Trudeau's hand on her ass. Here's 19-year-old Bianca Andreescu being touched repeatedly by Trudeau, a man of almost 50 years. Oh my God. Oh my God. That chest-to-chest hug. Put that last one back up there. If this was your 19-year-old daughter, and this was nearly the last one, a 50-year-old man who had just, look at that. Look at that. What the hell is that? Now, Trudeau wasn't close enough to David Cochrane to do that, a full front-to-front hug at the moment. He does do close hugs with men, too. I mean, I have to say, this is a close hug. And the one with Emmanuel Macron, that's a very close hug. Who greets another man like that? I think it's weird. But he didn't do it right then with Cochrane. If you notice, Cochrane's hands were full and there was a table in between them. They couldn't embrace. So he used his actions and his words. Trudeau gave a gift to Cochrane, who took it and immediately ate it. He actually put his cell phone away so he could eat it and show Trudeau just how grateful he was for the free poutine. He didn't say thank you and put it down as an inappropriate gift to be taken from a partisan person he's covering. No. He put his cell phone over, he rearranged it, he took it and immediately ate it to seal the deal. I'm a good boy. I'm a good boy. I mean, why not? What's the difference between taking 1.5 billion tax dollars for the CBC or taking a $5 poutine? They're both little bribes. They're both trinkets from the prince. Cochrane was just so lustily into it, like a virgin bride on his wedding night. But you know how Trudeau works. If he's dominant, he doesn't like to be subtle about it. He rubs it in a bit. Like when those Aboriginal protesters from Grassy Narrows crashed his fundraiser, remember that? It wasn't enough for Trudeau to dominate and have them taken out, physically handled. He had to rub it in. Thanks for your donation. Thanks for your donation. Remember that?
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much for your donation tonight. I really appreciate the donation to the Liberal Party of Canada.
He kept saying it. He got the crowd cheering with him, jeering. Those stupid Aboriginals from Grassy Narrows. Thanks for your donation, guys. Get out now. Or even when Trudeau was explaining, remember this years ago? Remember he explained why in that boxing match almost a decade ago with his Aboriginal opponent, why he wanted to cut off the ponytail of him. He wanted to rub it in, remember, to humiliate him, and he wanted everyone to be crystal clear why he was doing it. Remember this?
You know, we're both known for our long hair on the Hill. Let's say the loser gets a haircut. He resisted back a little bit, pointing out that hair has a cultural significance for First Nations peoples. And I said, I know, that's why I proposed it. When a warrior cuts his hair, it's a sign of shame. So it's very apropos.
Yeah. That's what Trudeau did here. He wanted everyone to know who was the master and who was the servant.
Merci la gang, merci à vous autres.
This is for you, David. This is for you. No.
For me?
Hey, Liberal Party always supports the CBC.
Oh, who's got a taste
No,
it?
who's that? We want to slow him down. He's just
Yeah, Trudeau was saying, you're smiling, David Cochrane, and I'm pretending to be friends with you, but they're not friends. To Trudeau, Cochrane's just a useful little pawn for the moment. And Trudeau had to make sure that Cochrane knew it, that Cochrane was enjoying Trudeau's beneficence. He's the giver. Cochrane was just taking little gifts from Trudeau without any shame. Look how happily he took it. Cochrane just spent days defending how Trudeau was hiding from journalistic questions. He utterly debased himself. He was literally defending Trudeau to other journalists, and now he just took a little gift from Trudeau on camera, and he immediately took a bite of it, good boy, on camera, just to show his submission, because he's a good boy. But it's not enough. Trudeau wanted to rub it in, point out how those liberals pay off those CBC types. Thank you for your donation. That's how Trudeau works, psychological manipulation. It's why when people finally fall out of love with him, oh, they fall hard. I mentioned Paul Wells before. That photo of him and Althea Raj was when they were both deeply in love with Trudeau. Althea Raj still is. That's why she's on the debate moderator panel, but Paul Wells ain't. Yeah. Paul Wells has fallen out of love. He wrote this cover story, The Imposter. It was really about Paul Wells and how he felt he was fooled, he was tricked by Trudeau. It stings, doesn't it? David Cochrane is still in love. Trudeau is psychologically manipulating him, dominating him, lording it over him, rubbing it in, and Cochrane doesn't even realize it. Unlike Paul Wells, I don't think Cochrane will actually fall out of love, or at least admit it, because his job is 100% paid for by Trudeau, unlike Paul Wells, whose job is only partly paid for by Trudeau. Cochrane is bought. Paul Wells was only rented. That's how Trudeau operates. I wonder what the ordinary Canadian thinks of Trudeau, but also of Cochrane, and also of Global News trying so hard to hide this whole thing from Canadian voters. That's an excerpt from the Ezra Levant show. Every day I do a video monologue and then I interview an interesting guest. And then I end by reading my hate mail, but you've got to subscribe to it, which you can do at therebel.media/shows.